Blenkinthrope and Gorworth were two friends. Blenkinthrope was sad because his life was drab. Nothing exciting or interesting ever happened his life. He tried to engage people in conversations which he believed was about things interesting. But no one cared to listen to him. For example, he had grown an enormous potato in his garden. It weighed 2 pounds. He tried to tell other people about it. But no one took any interest in it. He resentfully spoke about his life to Gorworth. Gorworth told him that the fault did not lie with him. It lay in his tab about the potato. Other people's life was as dull and uninteresting as his people were not interested in oversized potatoes and fishes. They wanted to hear about something dramatic and thrilling that had happened to the narrator himself or to someone in his family. If he told them about some exciting experiences, they would listen to him, and would be proud of their acquaintance with him. Gorworth suggested that people would excitedly talk about him if he told them something like 2 of his fingers were clawed by a lobster he was carrying home for supper, and that the doctor said that the whole of his hand would be amputated. Such a talk was of high order. People couldn't talk about his potato like this. But Blenkinthrope said he could not speak of such things, because they did not happen to him. Gorworth advised him that if such things did not happen to him, he could invent them. He gave him an example. He said he could say that a snake got into his poultry. He mesmerized 6 pullets with his dreadfully glittering eyes. Then he bit the helpless victims. But the 7th pullet was a French sort. Its eyes were covered with feathers. So it was not mesmerized. It could only see something wriggling on the floor. It pounced on the snake and pecked him to death. But Blenkinthrope said he could not speak of such things, because they did not happen to him. Gorworth advised him that if such things did not happen to him, he could invent them. He gave him an example. He said he could say that a snake got into his poultry. He mesmerized 6 pullets with his dreadfully glittering eyes. Then he bit the helpless victims. But the 7th pullet was a French sort. Its eyes were covered with feathers. So it was not mesmerized. It could only see something wriggling on the floor. It pounced on the snake and pecked him to death. At first Blenkinthrope felt that he could not act on his friend's advice because such thing did not happen to him. But he was busy thinking about it. Soon a story, with minute details, began to take shape in his mind. Next morning when he took his seat in the railway carriage with his colleagues, he told them the story. They were fascinated. They listened to him with rapt attention. They admired him. His story appeared in a poultry paper, and then in a daily newspaper. He was accepted the Munchausen of the group. He began to invent stories about his family. But soon nemesis overtook him. One evening Blenkinthrope found his wife sitting with a pack of cards. He thought she was playing patience game. But she told him that she was at the death's head patience. It was most difficult to get it out. But she was frightened too. Her mother and her great-aunt had each got it out only once. Both of them had died soon after. She believed that if she ever got it out, she too would die like them. Still she continued to concentrate on it, and sought Blenkinthrope's help. Blenkinthrope suggested the solution and his wife got it out. She was deeply excited and died soon after. In spite of the tragedy, Blenkinthrope could see that something really sensational had at last come into his life. He now wrote out a complete story entitled The Death's Head Patience, card game that justified its sinister name in 3 generations. He sent the story to Essex Vedette and a halfpenny daily. But his ambition to see them in print was not realized. They believed that Blenkinthrope was spinning a yarn. They believed that his wife had died of heart attack while he was attributing her death to her presentiment regarding the card game. His reputation as a romancer stood in his way. Blenkinthrope stopped traveling with his old companions. He traveled by an earlier train and told people his stories. He was no longer looked upon as the proud owner of the 7th Pullet.